We're going to move off of Zach Wilson here. We're going to move on to our next free agent signing. Anthony, tell us about him.
Yeah, so offensive guard James Daniels, in my opinion, this was the best signing we've had so far this free agency period. This was a guy that we've all talked about in the past few episodes. I think we pinned him as a potential target a month ago when we first started talking about free agency. And the reasoning was pretty simple, right? He's under 30 years old. He'll be 28 at the start of the season, and he's played a lot of football. He's started for 5 years for 2 different teams, starting with the Bears, then heading over to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Second-round pick from Iowa in 2018. This dude's versatile. He's played left and right guard. That's exactly what we need. Guards, like any of them. Any body that can stand right between the center and the tackle, we need you. And this dude's huge, 6'4", 327. Now, guys, we signed him to 3 years, $24 million. That's only $8 million a year. And that, like they say in Moneyball, follow the money, right? Follow the money. That's not a lot of money for a starting guard. And the reason being, he tore his Achilles last year in week 4 of the season. Last week, yeah. So I don't know if he'll be ready to play the season. There hasn't been any reporting or anything on what his.
I saw something saying that he'll be ready to go in the summer, so he'll be there for OTAs.
I will believe that when I see it, because the Achilles is a brutal injury.
Yeah, especially for a big boy.
Yeah. Listen, the contract is amazingly team-friendly, so this is really a win-win. I was shocked we got him for this, especially given some of the guard contracts that were handed out. I mean, Will Freeze anybody?
Oh, my God.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Jesus. I don't think I've ever been so wrong on a contract in my life.
Crazy, dude. So to get a starting guard, which he will be, if he will be starting for us in September if he's fully healed, for $8 million a year, sign me up.
Yeah, it's a bargain. Huge fan of the signing. I'm right there with you, Anthony. I'm a huge fan of the signing. Not really much else for me to say other than I love the way he played. He's a great run blocker. Mm-hmm. That's what he does. That's what he does best. He opens up holes in the running game. Mm-hmm. And he's a decent pass blocker, but he's a great run blocker. Mm-hmm. When he went down in week 4, and Grant, we're only talking about 3 weeks, he was the top-rated run blocking guard in the NFL.
Ooh, that's a good pull. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so great run blocker. Hopefully he can return to form. And again, $8 million, Anthony, dude.
House money right there, Bar.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure we can, if something happens this year, we can actually get out of his contract next year with 0 cap hit.
Yeah, but I don't want to.
No, I'm not saying I want to either. But I mean, it's good to know that they've structured this contract from a team standpoint very intelligently.
Yeah.
Right?
It intrigues me. Sorry, just one last thing. It does intrigue me that we got him that cheap, though. Because something in the back of my mind is like, what's wrong? You know?
Yeah. Glass cannon.
I think it's the Achilles. I think people see Achilles injuries and they're immediately scared off. And, they should be. I mean, Jalen Phillips tore his Achilles and then promptly tore his ACL. You can't tell me that the rehab from his Achilles didn't put some sort of strain on his ACL. Guys get Achilles injuries and they don't return to form, or they take 2 or 3 years to return to form because that's one of those injuries that saps your explosiveness. Again, I'm not saying this is going to happen to James Daniels. I'm not saying that this is his fate, but I do think with that $8 million contract, maybe we should temper our expectations just a little bit with James Daniels and not expect him to be quite the player he was prior to his injury. This is a solid signing. For $8 million, no matter what, it's a solid signing. Good job by Chris Greer and company. Taylor, do you have any thoughts on this one?
I love this signing. I'm right there with you guys. I had him penciled in as a mid-tier starter. I love this guy's film. This dude, Keith, you nailed it. Like the way he is in the run blocking game, it is something to behold. And considering what Aaron Brewer has done, I am going to love seeing highlights of Brewer and James Daniels just bulldozing people.
Yeah, for those that are into fantasy, pick up Dolphins running backs because if Daniels can stay healthy, it's going to be a fun year for the run game.
And I had him as a mid-tier starter, even considering the Achilles injury. And you guys talked about like, oh yeah, this is his one big injury, full-time starter before that. 100% accurate. But it's, to me, we did this whole thing for 2 months, right? Setting the table for free agency, for the draft. What did Dolphins need? And all 4 of us were in agreement. Like, we need somebody to set the tone.
Mm-hmm.
We need somebody to bring a little bit of nastiness to both the offense and the defense. Yeah. I'm not saying James Daniels solves everything with that. He doesn't. But he is a good step in the right direction. Because
it's a start.
I love the play style.
Yeah. Absolutely. Josh, any final thoughts on James Daniels?
Nope. I think you guys hit it right out of the park. This guy is the best free agent signing we had all so far, in my opinion.
I would agree with that, actually. But we're going to move on to the Dolphins' next free agent signing, and that's, that guy was assigned to me, Larry Borom, from the Chicago Bears. Now, look, he's a 5th-round pick from Missouri. He's 26 years old. He still has room to grow. He's never been a full-time starter in the NFL. He's played every position on the offensive line except for center. Mm-hmm. I think this is a guy that it's a decent signing, but it's also a guy we need to be realistic about. If the Dolphins sign him with the intention of saying, okay, you're a day one starter at right guard or left guard, then this is a bad signing. Mm-hmm. This is not a signing to get excited about. We still need another starting guard. Mm-hmm. Opposite James Daniels. This is a guy that you say you're the first guy off the bench should somebody get hurt. Ideally, one of the guards. If one of the guards get hurt, or if Aaron Brewer gets hurt, James Daniels moves over to center because he has played center in the past. And you're now the guard. This is the first guy off the bench. This is not a guy you pencil in as the starter for the next 17 games. If you do, you're making the same mistake you made with Robert Jones this past season. That's how I feel about Larry Borom. I like the signing, but he is not a starter. And I'm going to reiterate it one more time. If you're expecting him to be the starter for the Miami Dolphins at one of the guard spots, then you're wrong, Josh. Sorry, you're wrong.
Yeah, I think you're wrong too, Josh. There's no way this guy's starting.
Look, I'm looking. The only reason I say this, I'm not saying that, obviously I hope we draft someone to start.
Yeah. But
I'm saying if the board doesn't fall right and we can't get somebody, and this guy has to start at guard. I've watched his tape at guard. At tackle, this dude is a train wreck. He's got like historically short arms and wingspan, which for a tackle doesn't work. But with his strength, he was like, I forgot what his percentile was in strength. He's a strong dude and he's quick. And at the guard position, when you have to play in a phone booth, if you put him in between Brewer and where I think he will play on the right side of the line as a guard, I think he could do not serviceably well. I think he could be better than serviceable, right? He could be an average NFL starter, which is something that we can't say we've had in a couple of years at the guard position. He is better than anything we put on the field at the guard position last year. Anything. He's better than anything we put on the field at the guard position the previous year.
Well, Robert Hunt was better.
Oh, I thought that was 3 years ago.
No.
Or was Hunt 2 years? Okay. Yeah. Outside of Hunt, he's better than anything. Sorry. I thought we had 2 years with we were 2 years removed from Robert Hunt. My fault. But you put him at tackle, we're screwed. Don't put him at, I'd rather not play anyone than put him at tackle, or play your favorite guy. Jackson Carman. Yeah. Because that's about the quality of tackle that Borom is. Yeah. But at the guard position, if you watch the film, there are things to like. I'm not saying he's going to be a key starter or a top NFL player at that position, but he won't lose you games. Fair enough. I think is something we can't say that we've had.
That's fair, Josh. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
We can do better.
Of course. Oh, 1000%. Yeah.
I'm just fast forwarding in my mind to week 1 when he loses us the game and Josh is raging.
Yeah.
Well, I will be honest. I will take it on the chin, just like I did Jillian Hill.
Yeah. All right. So Anthony, what are your thoughts on Larry Borom?
Yeah, not much here. I think, one trend that Josh alluded to earlier is that there's a trend amongst free agency for our team this year, and it's been depth. If you look at the contracts, you follow the money. We are not paying starter money to virtually anybody that we signed outside of maybe James Daniels, but even that could be considered not starter money, $8 million a year. We don't know the contract details on this one yet, I don't think, but I can't imagine it's going to be high. So
Yeah. Taylor, what are your thoughts on Larry Borom?
I think this is guard depth. I don't want to see this man anywhere near playing tackle. I hope he doesn't, because you guys kind of nailed it. He's got strength, Josh. I think you said he's got some quickness to him as well. I like the size. It's just everything else really about him. It screams like depth player right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like he can possibly. Maybe he can develop into something like Josh was saying, but to me, this is depth. Still need another starting guard, whether that be through the draft or free agency. I prefer the draft just because, that is a deep class.
Yeah.
Yeah, and please understand, for those that watch this and for you guys, I am not saying that he is who I hope starts.
Okay.
I'm just saying if we can't draft one, or the board falls, or we end up in the third round, and that's when we take a guard, for example.
Yeah.
When we can't sign another veteran, we're not screwed. We're not in the best position, but we're not screwed.
We're not screwed. I agree with you, Josh. But going into this offseason, Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer, they intimated a commitment to fixing this guard position. If you start Larry Borom at guard week 1, barring injuries and everything, if Larry Borom's your starter at guard in week 1, you have failed. I'm going to be sharpening my pitchfork, and I'm going to be coming for you.
Right.
That's how I feel about it.
And I will say this: if our offense somehow gets back on track, you don't need them to do much for long, right?
Yeah.
Which is a benefit for us too.
True.
I do wonder.
We're going to move on to what's that, Anthony?
I do wonder what the plan for Patrick Paul is. I know that we would all desire him to be a tackle, but perhaps they're under some assumption that Teron Armstead's going to come back and that they're going to slide him in, and then they're going to put Daniels on the other side. And,
My one problem with Patrick Paul at guard, Anthony, is that I think he's just too big to be a guard.
You think he's too tall? Right?
Yeah.
He plays
high. I agree with you, but I'm just saying, like, if we're talking about them committing to fixing this room and they have all these pieces and they're like, okay, which 5 pieces make the best line? Even the tall Patrick Paul is probably better than this guy.
What is he, like 6'7"? Is that right?
Patrick Paul's 6'8".
Jesus.
Oh, man, too tall Paul.
He is a massive, massive human being.
Did you ever see the picture, Keith, of him standing next to Devon Achane in practice?
Yeah, I have. But that's the thing, like, our quarterback is not a big guy. How's he supposed to see over
just don't throw
a guy? Yeah. There we go.
Maybe they want to slide Austin Jackson in as he gets back from his injury. I don't know.
Maybe. Well, we'll see what happens, but I don't think they're done at the guard position. Hopefully they aren't done at the guard position, whether it be the draft or free agency. We'll see what there is to come from that.